This past Monday, my coworkers and I returned to our hotel from a day of work out in the field. Rebecca and I walked to our rooms, and as we stood outside of our rooms, I opened mine and I saw someone in the bathroom. I said, "Hello." Nobody answered. My first instinct was that it was a cleaning lady in there for some reason, and then I saw my bag with my clothes in her hands. I said to my coworker, "There's a woman in my room." Then I asked the woman, "What are you doing with my stuff?" It gets a little fuzzy here because I can't remember everything I said and what she said, but she kept mumbling about how her key still worked, how it still worked, and that's how she got in. I was in shock, and she was obviously very flustered, having been caught mid-robbery. She dropped my bags and fumbled around with her purse and a white plastic bag. By this time, my coworker was behind me watching all the insanity unfold. This woman was scrambling and walking towards the door, and I said, "What's in the bag?" thinking it is probably my stuff, and so she said, No, it's just my things, I'll show you." And so she did. I looked, and I didn't see anything of mine, and so since I'm obviously in shock at this time, I let her leave. I went into my room and it's been ransacked. I did a quick look around to see if anything had been taken. All of my electronics were still there. Then I went into the bathroom and I saw my underwear, my bikini, and my clothes shoved into my own bags randomly. Even my passport was shoved in there. Then I looked on the counter and I saw that she got into my medication. I'm not sure what was going through my head at the moment other than I wanted it back, so I ran out the door to go find her. I ran to the laundry room downstairs and out to the sides of the hotel, and I didn't see her. I realized I was never going to find her, so my coworker and I went down to the lobby to tell them what happened, and then we called the police. We went back up to my room to wait, and I noticed that there is a metal bat on my bed a little larger than one of those novelty wooden bats you can get at a baseball game, but there's also a flashlight on the end. She must have left it behind in her hurry. She also left behind a necklace that must have fallen out of her bag when she was scrambling with mine. I was mostly freaking out at this point because I thought that she'd gotten away with my medication that I need. The police got there and took our statements and looked around the room as well. One thing that I noticed was that there were bits of drywall in the sink, and I pointed that out to the cops, but none of us really knew where it came from. We started looking at the door and the windows to see if she pried her way in somehow, but there was nothing. So we kind of just went with the idea that she had a spare key or something, even though the hotel front desk was adamant that there's no way that could be. The officer that came brought 2 more officers as backup because they thought the woman might still be in the vicinity, but after our statements were taken, there was nothing else they could really do, so they left. I sat down to finally make some calls to tell people, and as I'm on the phone, I'm thinking about the drywall in the sink, and it still didn't make sense to me. So I'm on the phone and looking at the drywall and the mirror on the wall right above it, and then it hit me. I got my coworker and asked her to help me pull at this mirror on the wall, and we took the mirror down, and there's a hole there just big enough for a desperate junkie to squeeze through. I asked Brian and Rebecca if I should call the cops again to let them know that I found this, and my boss said, "There's still 2 cop cars in the parking lot." So I went down to tell them, and the female cop kinda rolled her eyes, but the young guy said, "I'll come check it out." They both came back up, looked in the hole, and found a pillow, blankets, cigarettes, clothes, toothbrushes. This woman had been living in the wall behind my mirror for God knows how long. She had access to me and my room at all times. One of the officers called the original officer to come back and take pictures of this. She explained to him what's going on, and all I hear over the radio is, "No way." He comes back, takes pictures, and is just as mind-blown as the rest of us. Obviously, we packed up and left immediately. What's even crazier is she has probably been there a long time. The last time we stayed at this hotel, I would randomly smell cigarette smoke, and I assumed someone was smoking in their bathroom and it was traveling through the vents. But nope, a junkie was smoking just on the other side of my mirror. She had access to other rooms too. The holes in the walls were from a renovation, and the hotel hadn't properly patched and just covered up with mirrors. She could have been hanging out in people's rooms when they were gone. This story takes place about 5 days ago. I'm still shaken up over it. I'm a 19-year-old girl, and my parents and I packed up our U-Haul and made the long drive to our new home up north from our small and dinky apartment in Central Florida. I can't lie. I was very excited about this move, attending college in the spring, finally getting to start my dream career, and so many other things I couldn't or didn't get to do in Florida. On the first night of our drive, we stopped at a hotel in what appeared to be a shady place. It was kind of scary as it was set up right outside of a closed-down gas station with boards and graffiti written all over them. From my parents' experience and what I've seen on TV, these aren't the types of places you want to go lurking around in. My dad, who's usually very calm and collected, was on edge the whole night. Since the door to our room didn't close all the way, we had to prop one of the hotel chairs against the door and use the deadbolt to have even the slightest bit of comfort. I thought it couldn't get much worse than that, but I was so wrong. The second night, we stopped in a small town in North Carolina. We had our 2 cats with us, so we had to find a hotel that was pet-friendly. We came across one of those hotels and booked a room for the night. While my parents were making sure nothing shifted in the U-Haul, I sat in the passenger seat of my mom's car with my little buddy, trying to calm him down. He seemed more agitated than normal. About half an hour after pulling into the parking lot, we grabbed the cats and our essentials. Emotions were running high, so we were all on edge about getting to our new home in the next day or two, depending on the amount of sleep we got. We loaded our things into a cart and approached the hotel's side door. My mom pulled out the key card and it took a while for the door to finally unlock, but the second we heard it click, a woman started yelling at us. We all looked up and saw her frantically running towards us. Her voice was frantic. The panic in her voice still sends shivers down my spine every time I think about it. She wore a long, dark blue jacket, her hair in a messy ponytail that was tucked inside her hoodie. She either looked really tired, like she hadn't slept in a year, or she had gone through something horrible. She was panting, muttering the words, "Call 911, there's something wrong with that baby." There was no child with her, nor did we see any kids in sight. My initial thought was that maybe there was a kid near the front of the building that was seriously hurt, or there was a car accident we were too busy unloading to hear the collision. The woman kept telling us to call 911, but my mom told her she didn't have her phone on her. I always carry mine on me, and me being the kind-hearted person I try to be, I offered to call for her. But the moment I pulled out my phone, my dad snatched it out of my hand. The lady then said, "It's really bad. You need to come and see." My mom told her she didn't want to see, and that we should go inside so the lady could go to the front desk and get help. At first, she was screaming, No, I don't need their help. I need your help." But my mom kept insisting that we go inside. At this point, my little buddy was whining and clawing at his pet carrier, trying to either get out or attack this lady. My boy might look like a sweet fuzzball, but if provoked, he's a scratching machine. The lady took one look at him and attempted to reach for him, saying, "Let's get the babies inside." The way she said that was so creepy. This time she sounded like she had bad intentions. I scooped up my cat before she could touch him, and we led her to the front desk where she told the hotel worker the same story she told us. The hotel worker tried to calm her down, and while the lady was distracted, my parents and I walked toward the elevator and started getting inside. As I looked back at the lobby, I saw the woman staring at us, her eyes full of anger now. She then started charging at us, and before I even had a chance to react, my mom pushed me and my furry baby into the elevator, them standing in front to protect me. I could see the woman still running towards us as the elevator was closing. I remembered the small screen near the elevator in the lobby, showing which floor the elevator was heading to, so to stop this crazy lady from harassing us all night, we pushed all the floor buttons and we stopped on every floor. After the 5th floor, we pressed the button back to our original floor and quickly piled into the room. Silence. My heart was pounding the entire time my body started shaking at what just happened. As I got my cat out of the carrier, I heard my mom and dad talking about that lady. My dad speculated that maybe she had a mental illness, whereas my mom said she could have been a trafficker with the way she was trying to get us to come with her and see the supposed situation. That's when my heart broke. I try so hard to see the good in people, but at the same time, I try to keep the best distance I can, but this was the first time someone ever approached me. I was so gullible to almost believe her story. My guard had slipped. I tried to hold back my guilt and fear as best I could, but I ended up breaking down. My mom hugged me, saying everything was going to be okay. But no matter how many times she and Dad kept saying that, my body continued shaking and my paranoia lasted throughout the night. Even at the slightest creak, I shot up from the bed and looked out the peephole thinking the lady had found us. Luckily, she wasn't there. That night, we all decided we were going to get up around sunrise and reach home before nightfall. No more hotel stops, no more creepy people, and no more shady places. As we checked out the next morning, the same employee from the last night was there, and we asked her what had happened after we got into the elevator. The worker told us after that the crazy lady left in a huff, her hands clenched into fists, but then the worker revealed a detail that my mind keeps going back to. When she turned to go after us, she saw a syringe in the crazy lady's jean pocket. I don't know if she had already used it or was planning to use it on me and my family. It makes me wonder what the outcome would have been had my parents not been there, and if I had given the lady my phone instead of offering to call for her. Would she have sold us into trafficking? Would she have robbed us? Anyway, we made it to our new home 2 days ago, but the fear of that night still eats away at me. I was staying in a hotel about 275 miles from home. I've been in the city for a couple days, but we just switched hotels last night due to the fact the other one was mold infested and gross. Anyways, we're here to drop my brother off at college, and tonight was his last night with us before we left. We decided to have a silly string fight in the hotel parking lot, run around the outside of the hotel, just fun, stupid, teenager things. Somebody was standing on top of the stairs that lead to the second floor of the hotel watching and staring at us. No big deal though. We were being pretty loud and obnoxious. My brother and my mom left to bring my brother back to his dorm room. I decided to stay behind at the hotel room as all I had been doing for the past 3 days was riding in a car and I needed a break, and I was on the phone with my friend, Adrian. So I was just talking to Adrian when all of a sudden someone knocks on the door the same exact way my mom does. We have one of those secret knocks. I was about to swing open the door per usual, as I was 99% certain it was my mother, but something told me to look out the peephole for some reason. The person standing outside my hotel room door was the same person watching us earlier on top of the stairs. I'm very paranoid, so obviously I didn't answer the door. I start freaking out and talking to Adrian quietly, and the person yells, "Open the door!" and starts banging harder on the door. I sit there talking quietly to Adrian for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then slowly walk back up to the door and go to look through the peephole when this person slams their body weight against the door and starts viciously shaking the handle. At this point, I text my brother on Snapchat at least 30 times to come back to the hotel. He says they're about 10 minutes away and just to sit tight, and by the time they get back, the person is gone. Definitely not the worst of experiences, but I'm still pretty shaken up by this. My paranoia paid off, because according to the front desk clerk, the same person came and asked for a key to my room. I'm not sure what would have happened if I would have opened that door, or if they would have managed to obtain a key to my room, and I don't want to find out.